Hi there. I thought I'd give an update on what happened at our Schriever Air Force Base protest a few days ago. Got a lot of little videos. I had three other people come with me, and I thought I would give you this update to give a better impression or a better example of what can happen when you find people like you locally through like a meetup group, which is how I found these people. Lotus, Claudine, and Britt were my three friends who were able to make it that day. And it's quite a commitment to actually take some time off work and during the middle of the day go hold up signs and hand out stuff to Air Force personnel. But that was what we planned and were able to organize. So we had three signs that we used. One of them said full disclosure of secret space programs. One of them said the city a quarter mile down is unconstitutional. And one of them said acknowledge space program whistleblowers. And that was the one we used the most because it was kind of neutral. We got the fewest funny looks from just using something like that. We even had one woman who was driving by who wasn't coming out of the base. Pretty much everything we gave out was to people coming off of Schriever Air Force Base, people who worked there. But one woman was driving by and saw the word whistleblowers and just had to run out of her car and come up to me like go Snowden. Like she's just so happy that Snowden was releasing his information. So that word whistleblowers has taken on a whole other dimension since the Snowden stuff, and it's makes people think a little bit more what's really going on if whistleblowers are needed to come out with this information and the government's not telling us. So some details on what actually happened. I'm sure we'll edit in all the clips to make this a little bit easier to understand. We handed out stuff for a while. It was a little bit hard. People were driving by and not stopped. When the traffic was heavier, people were stopping because it was backed up a little bit, and we could pass out a little more things that way. The west entrance is where we initially started. And then the north entrance may have had more civilian personnel coming out. I think that's why we started the west entrance. And the north entrance had a stoplight. We went there the second half of our protest when we realized the traffic stopped coming out the west end and started coming out the north end. A lot more people there with the stoplight stopped so that we could give out stuff. We were giving out DVD and a flyer.
What's in your packet? Show me here.
Well, I'll make sure there's a description somewhere.
But let me see it on camera here. You got a DVD. What's the DVD say?
Full disclosure introduction DVD video compilation. It has 7 videos on there.
And then
a lot of good stuff.
Press release,
mention of the Full Disclosure Project, and our website disclosurecolorado.com, which we say follows the principles of the Full Disclosure Project. A little bit more about the Full Disclosure Project mission, additional resources, websites, books. And then this is something Stephen Greer put together a while ago, a list of fantastic quotes from astronauts, military individuals.
So, did you give one of these to the sheriff's deputy?
Oh, yes.
One of these packets?
That was the highlight.
And what did she say?
She was like, what is this? And just curious like anyone. And I told her it was really awesome and she's just going to be... I said the first 5 minutes are spectacular, and she's like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll check it out. So it's pretty exciting.
So we infiltrated the sheriff's office, right?
Right. But the DVD had 7 videos that I put together. Perhaps I can share this DVD as an ISO file for others. I included the first video as a 5-minute short clip with Dr. Bill Deagle, who worked at Schriever Air Force Base underground, describing as a medical doctor that he was able to collect a lot of information from people who were working down there in compartmentalized programs.
And I've taken care of people that have been in the most classified facilities on the planet in Colorado. And Colorado has more classified material underground there and more computing power, quantum computing, than all the rest of the planet to get, put together by a very large order of magnitude. And most of these facilities are in underground cities. And I was in one of them, and it was very impressive. It's Schriever Air Force Base, 18 miles east of Colorado Springs.
So you're going to hear stuff, because you're working with these guys working on all these weird projects. These guys are the brightest guys in engineering, cybernetics, physics, space-based weapons, everything. And you're going to get exposed to things. And so you won't hear from somebody else. I'm going to tell you right now, we control every cubic centimeter of space between here and Mars. And I said, what? I said, you mean between here and the moon? He said, no, Mars. We've had a colony on Mars since the early 1980s, and we found evidence of previous civilizations of human life on there going back a long time. We've had an entire city on the moon for mining operations for helium-3. We have entire fleets of space-based vehicles, and we have more advanced sub and above light vehicles that go interstellar.
Yep.
Okay?
Right.
You need to know that.
Yep.
You need to know we have entire rings of space-based platforms around Earth. We have collaboration with advanced civilizations, and if you don't know this stuff, might as well know it now, and if you have questions about anything, ask me, because otherwise, if you're not in the loop, you're going to freak out.
That kind of stuff, if that is what people at Schriever know about, then everyone should be able to know about it. And the coolest thing that I found was, really, it's easy to go out and give this information out to everybody. It's not like there's anyone stopping us. This was something I was nervous about this, like, are they going to come and talk to us? Who's going to say what? But what happened was the security people seemed a little scared of us. It was kind of weird and really funny at the same time what actually happened. Let me give you the rundown. It was around 3:45 p.m. We had a base security person driving by a few times here and there. They waved at us, but they didn't stop and say anything. And then around 4:30, we had base security person park up on kind of a hill, and we got some photos of this. It's kind of like there's no other reason they would be there except to watch us, because it was a residential area. There was a house just in front of where they were, behind there where they were parked, a residential home. And this home was kind of like in between us and the actual base line. So we were only in public area, not anything that they could have jurisdiction over. But everyone coming off the base had to come out one of these two roads, the north entrance or the west entrance. So it was very convenient to give stuff out there. And around 4:30, they parked there. And we kind of ignored it. I didn't really think that much of it. But then 4:35, shortly after that, we had a sheriff's deputy come up, parked a little ways away, walked up to us, and was even calling out when she was walking up, "You guys are fine. You guys are cool." You know, they called us. We had to come out and just say, "You're cool. Everything's cool." And she was really, really nice. She couldn't have been nicer, explaining we were doing everything correctly. As long as we're not blocking traffic, we're fine. We can keep doing this. So we were cool. And she took a DVD and a flyer from us. I just said, "This is really cool. You should check it out." She's like, "Okay, it looks interesting. I'll check it out." So then she left. The security person stayed, though. The base security person kept looking at us, the base security person stayed parked in that location. And that lasted for about 30 minutes that they were there, I think. And then around 4:45, the traffic just sort of stopped at the base coming out the west entrance, which is weird because I figure that's kind of like when the most people are going to be coming out at 4:45. But at 4:52, my friend Lotus, who's really cool, he's had a lot of experience with protests. He's not afraid of anything, and I was more nervous, than he was. He just decided to walk up to the security person and just start asking them, "Hey, what's the deal with the traffic stopping? Is it going to pick up again? Are more people coming out the north entrance? How does this work?" And basically, he got nothing out of this security person. I don't know if she just didn't want to say anything, wasn't allowed to say anything. It was kind of funny. He got photos when he walked up of this, and he talked to her for maybe 5 minutes, or stood around her for 5 minutes. I don't think he got anything out of her. And then we saw a Chinook helicopter around maybe 4:58.
Yeah?
Ah. Well, that was interesting timing. But basically, this helicopter came straight overhead, and then as soon as that helicopter came overhead, I noticed, my friend noticed that the security person started to go away. And my friend was still standing right there, just like getting the cold shoulder, and they just drove back to the base.
Not much. It was a little woman in a big truck.
Already talking on the phone.
Some of the time, and I was trying to ask her when's the next rush hour, because we don't have much traffic now. She wouldn't talk to me.
And then he took pictures and
Yeah, except also a helicopter flew directly over us. So, they mustn't have this much excitement very often.
But she was supposed to be sitting there for 20, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, until I got there, I scared her away.
Pretty good. And they didn't have jurisdiction on that section of land, and we weren't really close to the base. We're just off the base. So I thought that was funny, and I have to admit that all my fear just vaporized after doing this. There's just absolutely nothing to be afraid of with this kind of protest, where you're in a regular plot of land, and it's our constitutional right to do this. So it's beautiful. Kind of shifted my perspectives quite a bit. There's really nothing stopping us from going out there and doing this every day. More of us could get together and do this every day. More of us should get together and do this much more often. Many more places around the country we could be doing this, giving out the Disclosure Project, all types of information that would be mind-blowing to people who are somewhat involved in these programs but aren't yet aware of the extent of what's going on. And with the right DVDs, the right flyers, the right information to the right people, I think we can make a significant difference. But we need to get together and make friends to do this, because it's not something we often feel comfortable doing by ourselves. We need others to feel supported.
I think we've been pissed off a few. But from what David Wilcox says, there's a lot of generals that want this out.
And break down some of our fears in helping get the information out. It doesn't have to be a protest. It can just be any kind of distribution at a park or any public place that you feel safe, and people are receptive. People are interested. So what were your experiences today? What was it like handing out stuff?
Well, we had a couple negative responses, but mainly for the most part, I would say we had positive responses. A lot of acknowledgement and some smiles and waving, and a couple people stopping and really interested in our information. So overall, I think we're doing pretty well.
Of course, we wanted to focus our energy on Schriever personnel because of the lower level space programs that are taking place there, and the people have connections to. People who start asking the right questions in the right places, we might get a little bit more results a little faster. But we can just join together and share the information with the public always. We don't have to have any limitations on what we're doing. Really, it's our own emotional state. Are you ready to do it? Can you overcome your fear? Can you... Well, I mean, there are things you want to have ready too. You need to have the information ready to distribute. So I hope to put together some ISOs on perhaps a torrent or a thumb drive that you can get, and then burn the ISOs onto DVD files. And then I have little mailing labels you can download the template for. Just get the generic mailing labels for envelopes from Walmart and just print them out, slap them onto the DVDs. It's much easier and faster than writing on the DVDs, I've found. So I've given out many hundreds of DVDs. I most like to give out the Disclosure Project, but this latest DVD I gave out had also some 9/11 truth stuff. I did put on the 9/11 mysteries and a clip of the Building 7 being reported having already collapsed 20 minutes before it actually collapsed. I put that as a special video on there so people can get a sense of how big this orchestration is behind the the control of what we're given. I also included a clip about the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Laboratory, some of their consciousness experiments. I think that's important for people to have to break down some of their walls that they've been programmed with. And I included a compilation of my own, which included a little bit about Corey Goode. Not very much there. I included some about Henry Deacon's testimony, Arthur Neumann. That is pretty good stuff. But Corey Goode is still quite controversial, so I feel like you need an introduction to him. You need to give out the Disclosure Project or have that first.
So, do you have fun? Did you
Yeah.
have fun today?
Yeah, it's a little harder with this crowd than it was at the Space Symposium to give things out. I don't know what it is. People are more skeptical on this. I don't know. I think it's because they're in cars, but I have no idea. But we still gave out quite a few.
Are we doing better at the stoplight than we did at the...
Yeah, the stoplight makes it a lot easier. Every time people are stopping, they're more likely to spend a few seconds thinking about what it is that you're doing, and that it's reasonable to take something from you. A lot of people might have a gut reaction when they see people with signs and things, like maybe these guys are angry or something. But I think as soon as they see you aren't angry, it makes it a lot easier for them to be more receptive to take things.
How does it feel to be providing leaked information to military people at Schriever?
I haven't put that much thought into it because I've been thinking about it for way too long. Today, it just feels like just a natural consequence of everything else we've been doing. Meeting and talking about disclosure. Might as well share it with people.
So how do you think these soldiers are going to react to our saying there's been a high-level breach in the chain of command?
The same way anybody would react, I think. Because these guys aren't in the know for the most part. They're just like regular people. And they just, some of them are going to be just really angry. How dare these guys, I don't know. Some people are just going to be skeptical, and other people are just going to be curious, and other people are going to be mind blown, and their lives are going to be changed, and that's what we're aiming for.
But yeah, that's my update. And I hope I can inspire others to do the same. Thanks.